Welcome to Blackbriar Gaming. Today, we're going to discuss 5 great Legion units for putting down Dreadnoughts. I faced a Fury of the Ancients list at a tournament I went to last weekend, and while I was able to take out a few of the Dreadnoughts, there was no real hope for my rather balanced army. I am keen to arm you with the knowledge you need to build your armies around being able to handle at least 1 or 2 of these monsters, while I think a list has to be tailored to take on any more than 4. Now, a quick note before we get into it, a subscribe and a like really helps us reach a bigger audience, so if you enjoy the video, please hit those buttons down below. Also be sure to check out our affiliate link in the description. We're going to keep the recommendations in today's video to generic Legion units, so that's all Astartes players can take advantage of my one-man war against Contemptor Dreadnoughts. So, in no particular order, the first unit I'm going to discuss is the Rapier Laser Destroyer. Now, these guys are nasty. At only 65 points each, you're getting a platform that can fire 2 twin-linked Strength 9 AP1 shots at 36 inches. It's relentless, so you can move and fire, albeit only with a movement of 4 inches, and this makes it so much more flexible and useful than it used to be in the first edition. It also makes it much harder for your opponents to hide their Dreadnoughts, compared to getting out of line of sight of something like a heavy support squad, who would need to be snap-firing if they moved. The Laser Destroyer is an ordnance weapon and has Exoshock 6+, so is also great against vehicles, as an added bonus for when there's no Contemptors on the table. Now, the Rapiers aren't overly survivable, so you need to be clever in how you deploy them. I recommend trying to find them a cover save if you can. They can, however, take a few casualties without it affecting their firepower output, which instantly makes them my preference over those heavy support squads with las cannons that we were just talking about. As artillery, they also can't react, which is really their one weakness over their heavily armed infantry compatriots. So opponents won't hesitate to take them out if they get the chance. They do take up an elite slot as well, which may be something to consider depending on how you build your army. Next up, I'm keen to discuss destroyers, not of the laser kind, but of the Legion Destroyer Assault Squad variety. I believe that destroyers are a bit of a sleeper when it comes to a unit that can reliably deal with Contemptor Dreadnoughts. The key to this unit is that they're a cheap-ish way to get multiple melter bombs up the table fast and into a Dreadnought. And it's only 25 points for the whole unit. So, what are melter bombs? Well, they've got Strength 8, AP1, they've got Armor Bane so that you're re-rolling to wound against those Dreadnoughts, and they also have Instant Death, so you're going to be doing D3 wounds for each one that gets past their invulnerable save. Destroyer Assault Squads bring Melter Bombs on a unit that is very maneuverable with their jump packs, and also has Rad Grenades, which is bringing the toughness of those Dreadnoughts down to 6 in combat, meaning that you're winning on 2s, though arguably this is not as vital with Armor Bane in the mix. Give your sergeants a Thunderhammer, and more on that later, and you have a real chance to actually take out a Dreadnought in a single round of combat with a full 10-man unit of destroyers. Following the theme of Melter Bombs, both Legion Reconnaissance and Scout Squads, which I'm lumping together, are very capable of killing Dreadnoughts if kitted out correctly. Recon and Scout Squads can partake in the Melter Bomb game for a fair fewer points than destroyers. In fact, a 10-strong Scout Squad, all armed with Melter Bombs, will only set you back 155 points. Both Recon and Scout Squads come with the Skirmish subtype and Shroud Bombs to protect them from shooting while they close with their prey. They also both have Infiltrate and Scout to make sure you're going to be able to place them in between the opponent's Dreadnought and where they want to go. Alternatively, if you want to take out that Dreadnought from a distance, Recon and Scout Squads can both take Nemesis Bolter Rifles, which have that all-important rending 5+ rule on a weapon that is an overly impressive 72-inch range. While 10 of these may only do a few wounds against a Dreadnought each turn, their range means you can be shooting from pretty much anywhere on the table as long as you have line of sight, while often being out of range of any return fire or early turn assaults. Shroud Bombs make this even more obnoxious than it needs to be. For our fourth unit, we're going to look at the Praetor, in particular, one armed with a Thunderhammer. Honestly, this is more about how great Thunderhammers are than anything the Praetor brings to the table. The Thunderhammer is one of the best generic close combat weapons in the game. The key is that it has Brutal 2. Brutal is a wild rule and is actually part of what makes Dreadnoughts so good in the first place. It feels nice to give them some of their own medicine back. The Praetor potentially with a jump pack or in an assault transport with some buddies, is the perfect delivery mechanism for our Thunderhammer. He has weapon skill 6, which is clutch against those weapon skill 5 Dreadnoughts. He's hitting on 3s. He's got 4 attacks base, so can potentially knock out a Dreadnought in a couple of turns. And most importantly, you can hide him in a unit that can soak up wounds and let him do the damage. There's a number of different units you can put him in assault squads so that he can more effectively hunt down those pesky movement 8 Dreadnoughts, and so that the wounds you're soaking up aren't costing you too many points. Tartarus Terminators are a good choice. They can still move and run an impressive 11 inches each turn. They have greater protection from shooting, and they may actually contribute some decent damage to that Dreadnought as well, even if they are only weapon skill 4. I actually really like a Despoiler squad in a Land Raider to accompany the Praetor. Both Heart of the Legion, if you can get close to an objective, and Spite of the Legion are very handy here. Swamping the Dreadnought in stubborn Marines that are throwing out a whole lot of shredding attacks, that's really good. And the Dreadnought has to fail that 2+ save at some point. Lastly, let's look at Breaches, who can take a Dreadnought-hating Graviton gun for every 5 models in the unit. Here's how I build these guys out. 20 Breaches, this is Heresy, go big or go home, 4 Graviton guns, a Nuncio Vox, the Sergeant with that all-important Thunderhammer, and whatever other upgrades you want for flavour. Now, is this unit cheap? No. It's upwards of 300 or more points. Definitely more points. Now, is this unit going to be a major thorn in your opponent's backside that is more effort to kill than it's worth? You betcha. Graviton guns are a great piece of kit against Dreadnoughts. They're going to hit most of the time due to being blast, which you can then reroll the scatter due to your Nuncio Vox. They've got the Haywire special rule, so they're winding Dreadnoughts essentially on a 2+, which the Dreadnought can only take an invulnerable save against, or if they roll a 6, the Dreadnought doesn't even get that. Firing 4 of these at a Dreadnought is going to do a few wounds each turn. All the extra bolters you're firing with, that squad might even do a wound too, not on averages, but hey, maybe. Don't forget that you get to fire all of these beautiful Graviton guns again as part of a reaction if that Dreadnought wants to shoot or charge at you. Don't forget that every blast marker stays behind and makes the terrain both difficult and dangerous. You're slowing the Dreadnought down and forcing them to take dangerous terrain checks at the same time. The downsides are that Graviton guns are relatively short ranged at only 18 inches, and they're also heavy weapons, which I don't love. So you have to think ahead about how you're going to use them and make sure that squad's standing still and in the right place. Having that Thunderhammer on the Sergeant as a backup, along with bulk auto-hitting crack grenades from the squad, should hopefully finish off any pesky wounds that remain if the Dreadnought manages to get into assault. Once you've dealt with the Contemptor, you can generally plonk this unit onto an objective and make a pain of yourself by filling the board around you with difficult and dangerous terrain blast markers. So there we have it. 5 Legion units that are great at taking out Contemptor Dreadnoughts. The Rapier Laser Destroyers, Destroyer Assault Squads, Reconnaissance and Scout Squads, Praetors with Thunderhammers, and Breaches with Graviton Guns. If you have any other nasty units that you use to hunt dreads on the table, put them down in the comments below. I hope my suggestions today help you face these monsters on a more level playing field. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to keep rolling those dice and getting hyped for Heresy.